using makeup I used to use for half my face, and then the other half will be makeup I use now. So for this half, I used 24 Hours Revlon Color Stay, and as you can see, it is definitely not a match. And it is greasy and disgusting, and it smells gross. Because I was a noob and I had no idea what I was doing, I wouldn't put any kind of powder to set my foundation, nothing. So I would just go straight to blush, and I would put like lots. So this is the blush I used to use. It's Hard Candy, and it is shimmery. Woo! Like pearl shimmery. Gross.
So nice. Very nice.
Never knew how to blend, and I really wanted smoky eyes, you know, so I would use Almay Intense Eye Color for blue eyes, and I would just copy it how it looks here. So I do the very obvious 3 levels, and then I would always try and make it really dark in the corner, and because I was such a pro, I would use one of these that came with the eyeshadow. And yeah, beautiful. For my eyeliner and mascara, I would pretty much just use any kind of pencil like this that, you know, goes in and out. And I would do it my whole eye, and then in the corners. For some reason, I thought it looked good. And then I would use pretty much 2 different mascaras, whatever happened to be on sale. One was always a CoverGirl though. So
nice.
One would always be like really chunky, put on like lots of flakes and just look awful. And then the other one would be kind of for like length. And as you can see, it is
Ooh, chunky.
nothing but flaky spider legs. And that would be the completion of my eye. To finish my makeup, I would just use some kind of shimmery lip gloss. This is disgusting and sticky. No name. As you can see, the foundation is underneath it. And yeah, that is my one side. How I would do my makeup at high school.
Very nice.
Yep. We'll have to excuse the different setting. We did not realize that we weren't filming when I was doing my comparison of my makeup. So, as you can see, it's night and day. This has now been about 2-3 hours of eating pizza, and it's still just as good. This, on the other hand, looks like some kind of clown makeup, and yeah, I think there's no comparison really between good quality and drugstore quality. And yeah, just watch YouTube videos and learn how not to do this and to do this. This is what I use for an everyday makeup look, which, you know what, it looks excessive, but you only really use like little bits, especially for the eye. So I'll run you through piece by piece what I do. So I use the Professional, and that is this is really good. It makes your skin feel soft. It fills in your pores. It's a great primer. It smells really good. It's like silky. I love it. Then for my foundation, I use MAC Studio Fix Fluid with SPF 15. That's the shade there because I'm pasty white. Then I use a MAC concealer which is Pro Longwear Concealer, the shade, and W20. Then for my powder, I use Physicians Formula, which, you know what, that came from Superstore, but I don't mind it. I think it's pretty good. Then to contour, I use my very beat up Sephora contour palette, except I don't think that they sell this one anymore. But I mean, it's just Sephora brand, so it's pretty good. Then I use my Sephora blush, which is called Shame on You. If I can get it to focus. That's just the Sephora's own brand. Then eyeshadow, I use my Morphe palette. The palette type is 35T, which is like plums and golds. Nice warm like autumn colors. Then I used a gold cream shadow from NYX just on my lid. Then for my brow bone and a corner of my eye as a highlight, this just came from Winners. I used Bella Pierre Cosmetics, and it's just a loose powder. It's like a gold shimmer color. It's Champagne is the shade. Then I use a NYX liquid eyeliner, except obviously it's all the name has all rubbed off because I use it so much. But I think that's really good. That stays on all day. Then mascara. This was actually a free gift from Sephora that I bought with my points. I think this is fantastic. Like, this is the bomb. The full size one is $35, but you know what? When I run out of this, definitely getting the full size one. Then for my eyebrows, I use e.l.f. eyebrow kit, which, let's be honest, is probably like the only e.l.f. product that I'm going to use. Then I use Sephora brand lip liner, which I don't know if it has the color on it. I don't think so. Then I use, for my lips, Tarte brand lip paint called Tartiest. That is the shade. If I can get it to focus. I cannot. So, whatever. It's nice. I like it. Then my setting spray is Urban Decay De-Slick Makeup Setting Spray for oil control. Now, I don't really have a super oily face, but around my nose definitely does get oily. Occasionally my chin also. And I found this really stops it, and it really holds your makeup in place well. Like, I love this. It was only like $15 in line, like the little impulse buy when you're paying at Sephora. Definitely worth the money. Then these are just a mixture of all my different brushes that I use. So, you know, they all do different things. You have to use the right tools to get the right effects. So yeah, that is everything I would use on a everyday makeup look. And it probably only takes me 15 minutes to use, maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit shorter. Depends on the day. Depends how the eyeliner goes. My horrible high school days makeup. So this is my skin without makeup on it. As you can see, like the concealer and the foundation, they really cover up my blemishes and a lot of my freckles. But my eyeball is still burning from cheap makeup. That's what you get for using $3 eyeliner. And yeah, it just feels a lot better. It felt really like I painted my face in acrylic paint before. It felt really gross. This side feels nice. Yeah, so that shows you the power of makeup. You want to look good, you gotta invest in some good quality brands. Go get your makeup matched at Sephora or MAC. And yeah, I think it looks a lot better.
For this half, I'm doing makeup that was what I used to do when I was little, and the other half will be what I do now. So what I did so far was a primer, which I used Joe Fresh, but usually when I was little I would use Elf, and it was really fucking slimy. This one was fucking sticky. And for foundation I used True Match, which I would either use like CoverGirl or whatever, just whatever mom would let me get. And it's definitely not my color, and it has no coverage.
Let me do a close up.
And-
yeah, you can't see a difference.
And I use powder on top, but I just use my Marcel powder, but usually I would use CoverGirl.
Okay.
I used concealer, but I'd use like a Rimmel London one or something, but this is just Joe Fresh. But it's pretty accurate because it's like red and 20 times too dark. And it did nothing. And then for blush, I would use just a no-name brand, but this time I used Hard Candy, which is pretty accurate, and I would put it all the way from this part of my cheek up to my forehead and into my hairline. And I contoured, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing, so I'd use one that was way too dark, and I used Wet n Wild, but this is Joe Fresh as well, and I would put it all around the outside of my face and the cheekbone and on my nose, all with a blush brush.
Alright, let's look. Ooh, look at that contour though. You look like you ate chocolate.
Yeah, I feel like it. For eyeshadow when I was little, I used to use Rue 21's beautiful shimmery as fuck eyeshadow palette, which smells like children's makeup, and it's horrible.
Ooh,
And
so nice.
clearly I use all of these colors the most, and black. So I would use all of those browner colors on the eyelid, and a lot of the white was one right in the corner and on my eyebrow bone. And then I'd use black in my crease, but I would just use my finger and a Q-tip. And that's how I did my whole eyeshadow look.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
To finish my eye look, I would use an eyeliner that was just a stick or like one of these screwy ones. Once again, whatever mom would get me. And I would put it all around my eye, on my waterline, under my waterline, and clearly just, and then I'd make a cat eye with it. And to make the cat eye more pointier, I would take my finger and swipe up, so then I'd have a nice streak. And then to keep fixing it, I just keep making it thicker and thicker, so it ended up nasty. And then I would go back in with eyeshadow and follow the line with the darkest eyeshadow, and then go back in and put in more light eyeshadow. And then for mascara, I'd use the cheapest one because mom would only get me the cheap stuff, and I would put on 3 or 4 layers, so this is pretty accurate. Clumpy and disgusting.
Close your eye. Oh yeah, that's so good. Yeah, let me zoom in. Oh, so nice.
And that is my whole eye look. To finish my look, I would use a lipstick and a lip gloss, but I just used whatever lipstick I had in my bag, which happened to be Marc Jacobs, which obviously I did not use. And then I would put that on, and I used to have very small lips because I didn't have my teeth fixed, so I would have like no lips. And then I'd put some nice lip gloss on, which could have been any color, but I'd put it on top. And then I'd always get on my teeth and just wipe once. And then I'd have it on my teeth. And that would be my entire look.
Oh, much beautiful.
A finished look for my high school face versus, well, high school younger face versus what I do now. And it's a huge difference. It actually matches my skin color, which is Ghost. And it just looks so much better. This side of my face, I don't even feel like I have makeup on, whereas this side, everything's itchy, my pores feel clogged, my eye is killing me. and it's a hell of a difference. So with this side of my face, what I start off with, I always moisturize first. So I use this Arid Natural Beauty. I just go to that Winners, and it smells amazing. And then I use...
Sorry, trying to keep a baby out of your makeup.
So good. Then I use the Pore Professional by Benefit, minimizing pore
primer.
Forgot the word for a minute. And all I use that in is my chin, my nose, and like my sort of eyebrow, forehead area. And then to prime everywhere else, I use my Cover FX mattifying primer with anti-acne treatment in it. Oh, that was real close there.
It still is.
And I use that everywhere else. And then I go in and I always start with my eyebrows, because eyebrows go be on fleek. Otherwise they look like this atrocity. Yes, that's the word. And for eyebrows, I use Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Definer in soft brown. And it is darker, but it's also still, like, if my eyebrows were filled in, they'd probably be that color. Kind of. I love it, though. And then I go in and I do my eyeshadow. So if there's any fallout, I just cover it up with foundation after. So I always use my Morphe palette for eyeshadow, which is the 350M palette, which looks like this. And it's beautiful. And then I go in with my my foundation, which I use Kat Von D, which is the best thing in the world. And then I put on concealer, which I mix the Look It concealer cream in the white with my foundation cream, and it gives me the perfect color for my concealer. And then after I'm done that, which I all put on with a beauty blender, then I go in and I put on my contour so that I'm not as pasty white, and I just use this palette here, which I got from Winners. It's BH Cosmetics. I love it for my contour and highlight. And then I set where I put my concealer on with a translucent powder. And this time I just used my sister's one, which is matte. It's a pressed powder, and it works great. It always works to keep it lasting. And then I go in and I set everything else with my Marcel face powder. And then after that, I go in with my highlighter. And I'm freaking obsessed with highlighter, so how I survive without it, I never know. I use this Sephora one, and it's beautiful. Then I go in afterwards with blush, and it's just a NYX blush, and it's in the shade Angel. And then after I'm done that, I go in and I do my eyeliner, which I just use this Sephora one, which is waterproof. And then I go in with my Sephora mascara, which is length plus volume. And those are new ones that I got, but I really like how they look more natural. And then afterwards, I do my lips, which I use Kat Von D in Bow and Arrow. And that thing lasts all day. So then once I'm done all of that, I set everything with NYX Matte Finish, which I was surprised how well it works. I used to use the same one Alicia uses, which is Urban Decay, but I needed a cheaper one, and this one is like a dupe for Urban Decay. And then I use a sponge for everything, like my face, and then for the rest, I just use these, plus another brush, which is broken, and it's a sad little brush now. So that's what I use for all of that. And then you should show my line of makeup, just for reference, what it is like.
Okay. In reverse order. And she wants to show her beautiful bag.
It is fabulous.
Which is what brand?
It's by Betsy Johnson.
Betsy Johnson. I can't zoom in. Okay, so to do a close-up, ignore the screaming child in the background. Dad is not home from work yet. Much, much better, especially the eyebrows and the eyeliner.
Especially with this eyebrow because I have a scar in it.
Yes. Let's look at the close-up of the eye. Go into focus. Much nicer. Much, much nicer. Okay.
The shitty high school younger days makeup, which feels amazing now because that was burning my eyeball. And so this is the difference between what I would normally look like versus what I look like with my makeup on. And I always match my foundation to my neck, which is why it's white. Otherwise it would be red. And clearly it's just quality over everything, pretty much. Like, if you want to look good, you gotta spend the money. Which is why we don't use shitty makeup like Mary Kay and Unique.
Alright, let me do a zoom in. Yeah, that just covers up the red really well. Okay. Is the little monster that you can hear squealing in the background. And we love him.